We currently have the best deal of the year live now on poodlecfb.com. If you use code FLASH, capital F, you get $65 off the annual plan, or if you use code FLASH 2025, capital F, you get $6 off the monthly plan. You unlock exclusive spreadsheets, in-depth info, and our members-only Discord. Come join thousands of other members in the fastest growing and best CFB Dynasty community out there. Don't miss out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 26 video. And in today's video, I'm going to go over the best strategies when scouting in Dynasty mode. Now, before we get to the video, guys, as always, if you haven't already, check out poodlecfb.com. The first few people to DM me over on Twitter the word Dynasty gets a special rate exclusive to them, which is recurring. So if you lock yourself into the special rate, you have it for the lifetime of your deal. Guys, it is the best and greatest place to be if you are a CFB guy. I promise there are guys currently in your competitive dynasty who are secretly in there, who are taking advantage of you and beating you recruiting, team building, and everywhere else in this game because they are part of Poodle CFB. I've seen a few people bump into each other in that chat who have both said, like, don't say anything that we're in here, please. I'm telling you, if you're not in there, you're missing out. Come join thousands of members. We recently launched a bunch of new tools. The guide is dropping. I believe it should be dropping the week you're seeing this or the week after. So come check it out. You have direct access to me, our data team, TLDRs, our data lab, and it just makes it so easy for you as someone who probably works, comes home, and just wants to play the game and dominate at the same time. Save all the time. Sign up for poodlecfb.com. Use code FLASH, capital F, for $65 off the annual plan, or code FLASH 2025 for $7 off the monthly plan. That's about it, guys. Come join thousands of members. Let's get into it. I want to start here. I chose Memphis to show a smaller school. If one of you guys comment, of course you picked Memphis, can never pick a one-star school, I'm going to freak out. I'm leaving this in the video. I picked Memphis. It's a smaller school. This doesn't matter because it's about scouting strategy. It applies to all schools. But neither here nor there. I chose Memphis. Let's get into it. So, when scouting, there's a few things to factor in. And it's really different because of a few key things that we've discovered. So I did drop a glitchy recruiting video last week that actually helps kind of like avoid certain scouting things. So you want to scout based on where you are in your dynasty at this very moment, whether you're a big school, a small school, a team builder, a program builder, a recruiter, everything changes. So you have to really stay with me here because people ask me 100 questions, like, but why are you doing it this way if you said do it this way? It really depends on where you're at. So I'm going to go through this. Let's start with packages and how they impact recruiting. There's a few packages that really impact it. If you are a recruiter, elite recruiter and all that, scouting is super important for you because you can basically win whoever you want. So you want to go after the guys who are the best. If you are a program builder and a team builder, like you have all these good team building stats, you kind of want depth traits. And you also, because you can't recruit that well, you got to be very selective about the way you recruit. You kind of want to just be bringing in like high ceiling talent and kind of you're guessing a little bit. Now, if you're a strategist, you have Mind Reader. And if you have Mind Reader, which is tier 4, you can see depth traits. So you're not even caring about scouting as much. So let me go through a few ways that this works for you. Now, for them, they have strategist on tier 4 for this guy as of now, and tier 4 here. And let me see if I can get a few more here so I can show you guys what this looks like. But there's different scouting strategies for where you are. So I'm gonna go through a few things. Let's come to scouting. Let's go look at the board, set some players on the board, and let's go through this whole thing so I can explain to you how I go about my strategy. So let's go to quarterback. I'm gonna add a few quarterbacks onto the board here. Let's just blindly add 3 guys here. So if I'm a small school if I'm a small school in general, I don't care to scout 5 and 4 stars. Don't scout 5 and 4 stars. If you're a small school, like under a 3-star, take what you can get. You just need guys on your roster to reset your roster. That's the first thing. And I'm going to go very basic here on this first part. If I'm a 5-star school, I'm scouting 5 and 4 stars because I don't want junk. I need good players. Now, the caveat to all of this, and as I say, there's so many different caveats. If you haven't unlocked Elite Recruiter yet, and you are trying to unlock Elite Recruiter, I really don't scout that much. And people were commenting that that's how you end up with trash. No. So if I'm trying to get Elite Recruiter, especially with a big school, it would be easier to show you if I was a big school. That's why I picked big schools for it, because I have more players on the board. If I wanted Elite Recruiter, what I would do is I come through and I sort by interest and I make sure that all the guys in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd are on my board because I need my highest probability of winning the most recruits at a high level, so I have the highest probability of getting Elite Recruiter. So keep in mind that before you unlock Elite Recruiter, scouting isn't that important. I scout more once I have my recruiter set, Elite Recruiter. Again, if you are an Elite Recruiter, you're a recruiter with Elite Recruiter, scouting is so important because you can win any recruit. So now that I have that ability to whenever recruit, I don't have to go for the garbage anymore. And that's what people don't get. It's like, oh, that's going to be 2 seasons of garbage. It's like, yeah, 2 seasons of garbage for 8 to 10 seasons of absolute domination of 10, 15, 5 stars. That makes total sense. Also, the first ones, you don't even see dev, without Mind Reader, you can't even see dev traits. So what you think is garbage because you didn't scout them could be elite and star dev players. And guys who you thought were really good with high speed end up being normal or impact dev. So you run that risk the same way either way. But just starting off with either program, you're just trying to get the most talent in early as possible to reset. If you haven't got Elite Recruiter yet, I'm not really scouting too much. I'm more focused on finding players that I can easily win. Now let's move past that. You guys should understand that already. So there's a few different ways. If I'm an Elite Recruiter guy, I'm a recruiting dev and I'm scouting. When I scout, I'm being very selective. So let me show you guys a few of these when scouting, how I would be selective. So let's go look at a few of these guys here. If I'm scouting with these guys, first thing you want to be doing, let's say this is an athlete power rusher. When you scout, you don't always have to go all the way in. Now, if you're a 5-star school and you have your first tier scouting as discounted as possible, you can go all the way in. If you're a school that doesn't have scouting all the way upgraded, be careful. So if you have your scouting like this, where it just takes 3 taps, maybe 2 taps, depending, go all in, because this is great. As a 5-star school, you don't want that beyond the Elite Recruiter part of this. That's fine. You take them off your board. Because you don't want to have a guy that's a red gem, because in this year's game, dev traits are way more important. You really want to elite your star dev on most of your players, especially as a top tier program. That guy's going to be capped to hell, and he's not going to help your roster out. So again, let's go through. This guy's a 5-piecer. So for me, he requires 5. If you don't have tier 1 scouting, this is going to take a lot of scouting points. So you have to, I usually slow down here. Okay, speed looks like it's a higher threshold. Change of direction, his zone. He's a coverage specialist. He has robber. Fine. I want to see what he is because he looks really good. You could stop here. 90 speed, 82, 93, so it looks great. Now, the thing is, you can go a step further if you do want to find out that gem, which is very helpful sometimes. If there's no gem, that's fine, but you do want to find out that gem. But when they are 5 clicks, which is 50 points to scout, you got to be very, very careful about just blindly scouting. This is the Elite Recruiting way. If you have Elite Recruiter or you're the recruiting archetype, scout players, go all in, try to figure out what they have. That is your role. Let's move to the next one. If you are a pure builder, like you have extreme, like talent developer, motivator, let's say, and architect. You don't have strategist. You have talent developer and motivator. What I'm looking for are intangibles because I know I can upgrade everything else. So let's look at this guy right here. Let's scout him. When I'm scouting here, what I'm looking for is abilities. I'm looking for speed. I'm looking for height because speed and hit power, throw power are things that cost a lot no matter what archetype you are. So it's going to take a while to upgrade those. And this is for auto or manual. So instead of having to worry about that, I want things that I know I'm going to get a lot of skill points. If I have talent developer and motivator, I'm going to be getting so many skill points that growing players is going to be so easy. But I also understand that from an auto progression league, from that perspective, speed may not be upgraded or hit power for a long time. They're going to upgrade play rec, zone coverage, tackling first. So I don't care for those stats. I'm looking for those things like 6'2" and above height, 6'6" at receiver, and whatever else. Shifty, elusiveness. I'm looking for things that are going to be expensive. This guy has blow up and he has hammer behind my webcam. He has a solid speed of 86, 80 hit power. This guy has everything I want. This is the kind of guy that if I was a talent developer, motivator, archetype build, I'd be going for this kind of guy. And again, be careful when you have this build because you may not be able to scout cheap and it may cost you a lot. So with that being said, I do tend to lean being very, very careful when scouting this. Now this guy's a red gem. Same thing though. When you're a talent developer motivator, you actually are even more inclined to get elite and star dev because your whole thing is as a talent developer and motivator, you aren't bringing in 5 stars. When you bring in a 5-star bust, at least their floor is still like pretty high. Their just ceiling's really low. When you bring in a 3 or 4-star bust, they are extremely bad. So if you're a motivator or talent developer build, you need to be so all in on dev trade. And that's why my latest coach build incorporated a 3rd piece. So let me add the 3rd piece into this. What I want to be doing when I go any kind of motivator talent developer build and I'm trying to scout, I want to be trying to incorporate this specific thing right here. And that's going to be tier 4 strategists. So we have tier 4 strategists on running backs, on wide receivers, O-line, and tight end. So that's why for me, if I have elite recruiter, I'm scouting for 5 and 4 stars. I'm going in for the best stats, the best abilities. You're going to be very picky. If I'm a talent developer motivator strategist hybrid, I didn't do it the first time when I went through it because I know some of you guys may have already went a different direction. But if you can talent developer motivator strategist hybrid this as your coach build, now you're cooking. because this now gives you insight into dev traits. So let's go again and do this. And this is a way to absolutely dominate scouting as any kind of school, as long as you follow this coach build. So let's go add a bunch of wide receivers. As you guys saw, we have them on there. We can do some 3-stars since we're a small star school. And there's a way to look at this. This works for bigger players, but we're going to start with some smaller players here because we are a small school, so you guys can see it looks the same no matter what. Let's go through here. So let's say you're a smaller school and you're going to go the full talent developer route. The way you're going to outpace everyone in your league is strictly by following this building scouting practice. And that's going to be right here. So I added a bunch of halfbacks to our board. Let's go through and check this out. So I moved my webcam so you guys can see. Remember, you do unlock it on the first tap. So if you haven't watched that glitchy recruiting video, go check that out. This will definitely help you. But they unlock it on the first tap. So you'll know right after the first tap if you have a chance of actually finding out their depth trait. So like see right there, that guy's normal. So that prevents us from going all in on that guy and being stuck with a normal dev halfback. And you can do this across the whole way without scouting too deep. So the beauty of this, while it does take a lot of points to kind of go through and check everyone's scouting and what they can get for you, what it does do for you though is allow you to actually go through and cherry pick what devs you want on any kind of given recruiting cycle. So what I love about this is that when you have a pure builder style strategy, and that's what you're going for, you want to be scouting strictly for development trait, which is why you need mind reader. Otherwise you'd be guessing. So if you didn't have mind reader, what you'd be doing is looking for gems and non-gems. Stay away from red gems and ideally go for green gems. But see right here, when picking our halfback for this upcoming recruiting cycle, we'll be like, okay, we're going to avoid this normal dev guy. We're going to go for this star. He can be on a roster. Now you don't have to keep scouting him. I see enough. He's a star dev. He's going to get a ton of XP. He probably has a high ceiling, and I'm going to get him to his max overall. I'm not concerned about a starting point. If you want to be certain, you can take it a step further and find out, okay, look, he's a green gem. He's 84 speed. That's a great way to go ahead and do this. Although he looks a little bit low right now, he's a 3-star, you can move him up. You know he's going to have a high ceiling. And that's really the great part about scouting this way. So when I have strategist and talent developer motivator, I'm likely not scouting all the way. So you may be like, oh, that's a lot of points. You just have to scout 10 guys. Yeah, but think about it. Scouting 10 or 15 guys here, whatever it was, let's call it 15, only cost me 150 scouting points because I didn't go all the way in. If I did the 3 or 5 clicks on them, it would have cost me all of my scouting points. And especially when you're a bigger school and you have more hours, even better. And let's say you just bring in 10 to 15 star elite dev guys on that first go about. You can come back later in the season and scout again as you want, or you can kind of fill it in with some extra leftover guys that had no offers. Either way, this is the best way to scout from this perspective. So if you're an elite recruiter style build, CEO build, I'm scouting with the intent of getting instant commits on first interest guys. I'm looking for being very picky, scouting all the way through, finding out their speed, everything they got going for them. If I'm going to be a talent developer, architect, motivator type build, I'm strictly looking for green gems or non-gems, completely avoiding bust, and being a little bit more picky with making sure they have their speed and their height. Because at least I know they have that and I'll develop the rest. But you never know their ceilings. That's the problem. With this, if you add strategists, you now only have to scout their first touch and you don't have to scout the rest because I don't care what some of their speed and some of their other stuff is because I know they're going to have a high ceiling and I can get it up, at least to some extent. I can get their abilities up and that's fine. Now, there are some other alternates here, but I doubt anyone's doing a build outside of my pure talent developer build or my pure elite recruiter build. Those are kind of the two lanes. Even if they're not identical, those are the lanes you're going to really stay in. If you're a tactician, I'm sorry for you, and I don't know what to do for you for scouting. But that's my best strategies. Of course, there are other things outside of like tying it to your coaching build. You can be a little bit more specific, like doing one-tap scouting with smaller schools and looking at this. My best advice is when you come to your school size, don't scout what you need. And let me like, don't scout what you need and can't have. So if you're a 1 to 3 star school and a 5-star or 4-star player is available for you to get, you get them because you need them and you usually can't have them. So just don't scout them. If you're a 5-star school and a 4-star school, don't waste any scouting points on 1 to 3 stars. Unless you're trying to get an instant commit, that's fine, but don't waste scouting points. That's dumb. You want to be scouting only the most elite players that you think could be on your program. Once you get beyond that, there's elite recruiter requirements. If you're just going for that, you don't have to really scout. Just try to get as many players as you can in bulk to get top 5. Once you're beyond all of that, now you want to scout based on what your coaching package is. If you're a recruiter, you already know what to do, and if you're a talent developer, you know what to do. Your end goal is all the same. It's just to get the highest overall team to your tendencies. Now here's the other thing: if you're an elite recruiter, you probably want to recruit for your tendencies. You want a player that does this, you want a player that does that. When you're a talent developer motivator, you assume that you could build everyone up to your tendencies. So that's a little bit different. And that's the only world where it's like, maybe for quarterback, you slightly change that scouting tactic up. Maybe for all the other positions, you just do the one-tap scout. But for quarterbacks, maybe you take it a step further and you're like, okay, I'm going to use my scouting points here. And that's, again, why I always say what I say is 85% accurate to what you should do. 15% should come off of what you think works best for you. So let's say you're a guy who needs a scrambling quarterback, you need a speedy quarterback. What you can do is actually go ahead and one-tap the rest of the board, because O-line's O-line, D-line's D-line. What you can do, though, is for your quarterback and wide receiver, you can go a step deeper and try to compare that star dev to that star dev, to that elite dev, to that star dev, and find the one that works for you. So at least you can still run your offense and the rest will organically grow based on dev trade. But guys, those are my best scouting strategies, tips, advice. Hopefully this helped you guys out. If you want more in-depth TLDRs, breakdowns, spreadsheets, and data analysis of all of this in ways to kind of go beyond even this, check out poodlecfb.com. Remember, the first few guys to DM me over on Twitter do get a special code if they send me the words Dynasty. And if you use code FLASH, capital F, you do get $65 off the annual plan, or FLASH 2025, capital F, you get $7 off the monthly plan. Make sure to check it out. The fastest growing and best CFP community out there. We have over 1,000 members. Come join them, because at this point, if you're not in there, you're likely to disadvantage in your Dynasty. So come check it out. Best rate of the year. Lock yourself in as a recurring deal. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out. Peace.